I've been a truck driver since I was 25, and over the years, I've done plenty of night drives and had my fair share of strange experiences. I've handled deliveries for all sorts of companies, often driving across state lines to make shipments to receiving companies or stores. One day, I had a job that required me to drive from one side of California to the other, with a trailer full of wooden furniture. Most of the route would be through open desert roads, and since I'd gotten a late start, I knew the majority of the drive would be in the dark. Desert roads at night are a unique experience. The straight highways, the emptiness, and hardly any traffic. The open desert roads meant I could push the truck a little faster than usual, so when I noticed flashing rear lights from a car on the horizon, I had to hit the brakes extra hard to bring the truck to a stop. As I pulled up behind it, I saw it was an old Chevy Impala, parked just off the road in the desert dirt, hazards blinking. Being the good Samaritan, I got out of the truck to see if they needed help. I walked over and tapped on the window, but there was no response. Bending down a little, I tried to look through the tinted window, but I couldn't see anyone inside. I circled the car, checked all the seats, and confirmed it was empty. Standing there, I looked out into the cool, dark desert stretching endlessly around me. The headlights only cut through maybe 20 yards, and beyond that was just pitch black nothingness. For some reason, I was feeling especially helpful that night, so I went back to my truck and grabbed a flashlight from the toolbox beneath the passenger seat. It was a heavy-duty tactical flashlight, bright enough that looking directly at it would almost hurt your eyes. As soon as I switched it on, the beam illuminated what looked like an abandoned gas station off to the side of the road, something I must have missed earlier. I realized the reason I hadn't noticed, it was that the fill-up and parking area was just dirt, with no concrete to catch my attention. There were only 2 gas pumps, and behind them stood a small building that looked like it used to be a quick-stop store. It seemed logical that whoever owned the car would likely be inside that building. I approached the front door, which was permanently jammed open, and aimed my flashlight inside. The beam illuminated what I assumed used to be a large convenience store, typical of many gas stations, though it was easy to see why it hadn't survived on a road like this. I called out to announce my presence and let anyone inside know I was there to help. The faint echo in the room sent chills down my spine for some reason. Then I heard something, maybe a shoe scraping against the floor on the opposite side of the room, behind a few shelves that likely once held snacks and drinks. I called out again, offering my assistance if it was needed. That's when I heard a deep, heavy whisper. I understood what was said immediately, but I couldn't grasp why someone would say that. Along with the whisper, I noticed heavy breathing coming from one corner of the room. That whisper was enough to make me get the hell out of there in a hurry. As I walked back to my truck, I was engulfed in confusion, unsure if what I'd heard was real. It was unsettling, to say the least. I practically sprinted to my truck and called 911, too frightened to go back into that building. They asked for my exact location, but I couldn't provide one. All I could say was that I was by an abandoned gas station on some road in the desert. They wanted me to stay on the line to give a better description of where I was, but then, suddenly, the car in front of me came to life, its engine roaring to life before speeding down the deserted road. I hadn't even seen anyone get into the car. It was so dark, and I had been so distracted by the phone call. I decided to run back into the building to check if anyone was still inside, all while keeping 911 on the line. I made my way to the back section where I'd heard the voice and the heavy breathing, and my heart sank when I saw a fresh pool of blood on the floor. I could only imagine what had happened there. I explained to the operator on the phone that I believed I had stumbled into a crime scene. They assured me that help was on the way and began asking for any information I could provide. License plate numbers, what the suspect looked like, and what I thought had occurred. All I could tell them was that it was a black Chevy Impala from the early 2000s. I recounted how I'd heard a man telling me to get out, followed by a woman screaming as they left the building. There was no body left behind, but I had a few chilling ideas about what might have transpired. I was sure the state police would take blood samples and gather evidence, but I felt like I couldn't be of much more help. Shamefully, I didn't have a dash cam to capture the license plate number, but I made sure to install one in my assigned truck the very next week. This was one of those once-in-a-lifetime experiences that would haunt me forever.